On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
There's a lot of news in the world today.
News that might surprise you, startle you, upset, or maybe impress.
News that's not always for the faint of heart.
That's why the man who failed his way to success, Heath Oaks, is stepping up.
Tackling today's headlines with ignorance on fire in a way only a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with your host, Heath Oaks.
I don't know exactly how to take the fact that everybody goes, I've just really loved Jenny's Instagram stories, especially when she's like ragging on you about your clothes. And I'm like, that's kind of like when Coach was telling me, Oaks, you sure got a lot of heart. It's like, how do you take that? It's like, you're not,
Sure.
whatever. So we got Jenny, Zach, and Matt in the house today.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you.
Hi.
Or hear you.
Here.
Hear
Hello.
you.
Hello.
See you. Hello.
Yeah, it's like kind of that Oaks, you sure got a lot of heart. It was always just basically like, only if you're more of an athlete, but you sure
he
try
tries
hard.
He tries
So-
hard.
It's complimentary.
Most recently, and I'll put this in the husband category of my Instagram so
Oh,
you
that
guys can
was-
see it.
Yeah.
So Heath went out to Walmart to get some stuff for our Christmas tree that we couldn't find, which we actually had, but like I don't know, didn't want to get it out of storage or something, so he just bought new stuff at Walmart. Anyway, he got a wreath, and he was like, oh, want me to hang this wreath up on the front? I'm like, yeah, sure, great idea. So anyway, I go out to walk Brighton the next day.
Yeah.
And it's a wreath with an attached bow, like it's an all-in-one sort of deal.
A big red bow or something?
Yeah, exactly. And the bow is on the bottom, flipped upside down, just hanging there, almost like a windstorm had come in and knocked the thing over. But it's like Heath just went out there, threw it on the door, and came back in. Like, didn't give it a second look.
I love
it was
it.
completely upside down. The bow was flipped forward.
If I wanted to lie, I would. If not, though, the truth is I just threw it on there and walked on off and didn't care at all.
I know, clearly. Clearly.
What is your philosophy for decorating the Christmas tree? Do you put a lot of sentimental ornaments? Do they all have to match? Is it overloaded?
Well, Brighton broke all of our sentimental ornaments.
What? There you go.
So,
She just grabbed them. Ball,
She's at
ball,
18 months already.
Yeah,
Okay.
ball,
Yeah.
ball.
all right.
Ball.
Balls are
and
supposed
so
to bounce.
all balls
Oh,
bounce.
right,
So
right,
before we
right.
could even get to, she's faster than us. So and smarter apparently too.
Yeah.
But we do. I wouldn't
basic.
say we do like one of those really fancy trees where no sentimental ornaments are allowed or where no ornaments are
Not matching.
Yeah. But overall,
sentimental.
this year we have sort of a red and silver theme. And just like the wreath on the front door, upside down bow theme. And then we have Heath's mom's gotten us several special ornaments. And then my mom got us a couple, like Charlie's first Christmas and then Brighton's first Christmas. And I have one that I got during my internship in New York that for some reason is always special to me. So I always hang that up too. So it doesn't match.
We're
I'm sure
mixed.
that if Brighton makes us an ornament at her
It'll
little
make it on the tree.
school, it'll definitely be front and center on
Right.
the tree.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
her artwork.
I was going to say it's going to go on the back if it doesn't match.
No,
we're
I'm
not.
not like that.
We're not
I think
like
that's
that.
kind of shady.
It is.
Yeah,
I don't
we're not like that.
That's like, well, you're cooler than your kids.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we're not like that. It's got the red and silver balls and the red like bows on it, but then we have the sentimental stuff in there,
Right.
no matter
It's
what the
good.
color is.
Yeah, like a little
Yes.
structure in there. Yeah, and then the
Yes.
sentiment. Okay. Well,
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Any Packers-related ornaments on there?
No, we don't
I'm
have any.
surprised we don't.
Yeah, well, this
I'm
ne-
surprised we don't have a tree topper as a cheese.
Well, I look. I mean,
That
I
was
didn't
not
know I
attempt.
could get away with that. I mean, look, if
You
you're
can.
saying, if you're saying I can get away
You
with
could
that,
do
then
a tree in your man cave.
yeah, so
There you
before
go.
this next headline, I'm a big Packer fan, so
Time to go
that's
back
why.
to Walmart and get a
Yes.
tree topper.
Bingo.
Packers and Longhorns, for anybody thinking about sending Heath a gift.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers have parted ways with head coach Mike McCarthy and named Joe Philbin interim head coach. President and Chief Executive Officer, good Lord, Mark Murphy announced Sunday. The 2018 season has not lived up to the expectations and standards of the Green Bay Packers. As a result, I made the difficult decision to relieve Mike McCarthy of his role as head coach effective immediately, Murphy said. Mike has been a terrific head coach and a leader of the Packers for 13 seasons, during which time we experienced a great deal of success on and off the field. He thanked his wife, Jessica, and the rest of the McCarthy family. That's the headline.
So, as a Packer fan, Mike McCarthy, he won a Super Bowl with us and whatnot, and Mike McCarthy was a good coach. The last couple of years, he has seemed we have not lived up to how we really should have been, and you could really tell people weren't really playing for him, and so it's kind of been a couple years of like, come on, buddy, you have a good team there, and y'all aren't really winning the games you should. You can only live off that Super Bowl that you had a long time ago so long before you got to actually, start having a little bit going. And it was kind of shocking they did it in the middle of the season like this, but there must have been something go on behind the scenes, like some stuff that must have been said, done that was not, we don't know. But, whenever I think about this story on the second shot of it all, I think about, honestly, 10 years or so of doing one thing exactly the same, can get very easy to be complacent. Especially a high pressure job like this, that this got to wear on you more than anything, to not have that fire and all of that in you. And so, look, sometimes people got to push you out for you to go search and get that fire back in you. And so I have no doubt that Mike McCarthy, maybe some time off and that kind of happened to him, would put a jolt in him, and wherever he goes next he will be the Mike McCarthy that won the Packers the Super Bowl and have that fire and re-energize. But I think there are ways, though, that you can keep kind of that fire and energetic in you, even though if you're doing it for a long time,
Well, you've been doing the same thing for 10 years now, so I guess you guys have been on the same.
Well, it's not the same, but the good thing for me is I've had changes in lots of stuff, and that's what's helped me.
You had a lot of shifts in the organization. You're not in the same position.
Moves and all that and stuff. So that's what, you think about it. Every time you move station and stuff, you get this super re-energy.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yes, you set new goals. Yeah, and I've moved stations every, 2-3 years for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's true. You kind of have, it's an ebb and flow. You get in, you get to know the community, you're out there meeting people, you're going to every event, you're meeting all the public information officers, the police chiefs, your colleagues, you're getting your computer set up, really researching those stories. Then you make contacts so you don't have to be in as deep. Then you can really flourish on air. And before you know it, then you're kind of applying for that next job. And so you're constantly staying, reinvigorated.
But that's what a lot of people ask, I don't think you have to get your energy from like your job, right? Like that's not what, it doesn't have to be like that for you to have your passion, your zeal for life in general, right?
Agree.
Yeah.
But here's what people don't do, is they don't take the time to assess that and understand it, is that if your job is not energizing you, bringing you that, a lot of times those people have nothing outside of it either. And I think you can get into a downfall no matter what you're doing, is if you have your eggs in one basket of energy, right? Like you need to have something that sparks you. That's why I've always had that outside hobby thing I'm trying to conquer, because it really truly energizes me for my work and everything. Something about having that passion. Like if you're that person, like I look at your dad. Jenny's dad is super happy. He is super energetic. He literally has a metabolic age of 40 at 64.
Literally, he just got tested. It's insane.
Wow.
My dad and I are the same age. No.
Yep. But and Joe has lived a very happy, grateful life. Got a great everything with it, right?
Yeah.
His job, he could really almost care less about. He does it to make his paycheck, but his passion is bicycle racing that he still does at 64. And outside that's
right,
why
and skiing
the job
and
has not
outdoor
been
sports,
the job hasn't been miserable for him, because he has other things that he actually loves and gets to do, and he's never taken the promotions at job or anything because he don't want more responsibility, because he wants more time to do all of his outside stuff. That is a great, happy life. That's what people got to understand, is you can't pigeonhole yourself into where you have an identity with this one thing and this one thing only, and you don't have outside things that help you do that, because I believe that's what helps the energy. And people that are head coaches in the NFL, they don't have a time to have another hobby. So that's why they get pigeonholed into that so hard, and then they get tired because you do it that hardcore for so long. And I really encourage people to have those outside. You need a couple of things that you can go get your energy from and your passion out of. That's why I want to learn to be a pilot. I was energized, and that energized me to work as well, because you're learning something and you're, it does that. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense at all.
Definitely.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. And I think that's a great example in my dad. Yeah. Because, you've got to find your passion. It could be at work. It could be outside of it. The thing that really struck me, and kind of my quick second shot before we wrap up here, was, in the sort of announcement letter from the Packers, from just a family perspective, they said, "We want to thank Mike, his wife Jessica, and the rest of the McCarthy family for all that they have done for the Packers and the Green Bay and Wisconsin communities." So you hear about his family. Gosh, this man who's devoted his whole life has a wife and has children, and thank God he has kept that intact, because what's going to be there for you when that one job you've poured everything into is not there anymore?
Yep.
And that's going to be a place that we're all going to find ourselves in, whether it's in retirement or whether it's during a job loss or something like that. We cannot forget what keeps us together. And that may, you may not have a spouse, but perhaps it's friends.
Yep.
Or perhaps you need to go and find that community outside of work.
Yep.
Because really, you have to, we're all going to face this, and you have to have shore yourself up for these instances. And so just that line that the Packers even recognize that too. Like, look, we're passing you off to the family now. And we hope that family's, intact and doing well, and that you've been taking care of them and taking, and investing in those relationships, just like you've been investing in that job, because that's all we have is our family and our friendships and our outside communities.
Well, and it's not just sometimes that it's you're doing something, and I think if you ever feel like you've been doing something for a long time and you kind of just feel like you're going through the motions, that's a time you've got to realize and go find something outside that's a hobby. A lot of times, these people that are these, quote unquote grinders, you ask them what their hobby is and they say work. You're setting yourself up for failure, because what's going to happen to you is there's going to come a time that you really get it figured out, and the train's rolling. And when that happens, you're going to feel lost, because you're going to feel like you're like, what do I do now? Where's my, because, you poured all your energy into the creating of it all these, all the newness of it. And then you don't know what to do to keep that train rolling. And that's where you got to have some of those outside things that not that it pulls you from work, like flying a plane didn't pull me from work. It re-energized me for work, and learning to do this, and learning, building the house is taking up time, right? Like there's other goals outside of this one thing that's not going to define me and own me, so that I don't feel lost, and others don't as well. And that's where I think you've got to take it, that don't get stuck in that hamster wheel. And I would also say that if you feel like you're stuck in the hamster wheel, ask yourself right now, do I have a hobby outside of this that I'm passionate about? And if you don't, go find that before you give up on your job right there. Because sometimes if you go find that could re-energize you into both worlds, and you go, okay, I wasn't done with where I'm at working wise. I just had nothing else. So I would encourage you to maybe test that to see, because you need to put some stuff in to where you have some other energies and passion projects, because if you pigeon yourself into that one hole, then you're going to set yourself up for some disappointment and kind of laziness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Totally.
So we'll be back in a minute on the third segment of Second Shot.
He's a suit and tie kind of guy with deep Southern roots. Keith Oakes hosts more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
To all of my friends in the great state of Texas, if you have not taken advantage, I have a way to save you a ton of money. I have saved over about $3,000 in the last year, and I have no hassle. Go to EnergyOgre.com, put in the promo code SECONDSHOT. Now listen, promo code SECONDSHOT, and you're going to get a free month just for signing up and saving a ton of money. So don't be crazy. Stop sitting around talking about, is this the real deal, and go do it right now. EnergyOgre.com, promo code SECONDSHOT, and a free month. Thanks. Go get it now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
You know your dentist screwed you up when you're already trying to go to the third segment and you forget about the second segment.
I know. I'm like, where? Hold up. Hold up.
I had
Whoa.
the first time been back in like it feels like about a month, and I got half my mouth swollen and stuff, and everybody's gonna be like, you know what? Why don't you leave and let's just have Jenny
No.
there and nobody else.
No, because if you left, you wouldn't be there to do that whole last segment just to be a pitch for yourself to start getting into some other sort of racing. Because I know that's what that was about. Him talking about passions, because he wants to
That's
go
what
get
that
like dirt bike or motorcycle or cart or I don't even know I'm using the wrong vocabulary because I know so little about these sports except for that they're dangerous.
My parents are just about to retire. They're real close. My mom has like 4.5 days of work left.
Oh,
My dad
wow.
has to finish the year. Yeah, and they're both teachers. So that's what they've been doing for 35 years. And my dad, man, he's like, I want to go get a motorcycle thing certificate so I can drive a motorcycle again. I got a ton of work to do in the house. I want to get back into woodworking. My mom, no idea what she's going to do. And I'm like, you got to get a hobby.
You gotta find something.
Yeah. And whatever she finds is going to be great. And like, I'm so excited for what they go into next. But man,
But
they're
people
just, yeah.
need to make sure they find those throughout their life instead of waiting till the end of it too. I think you want to live it while you're there, enjoy that journey with it more. I don't, you know what? To talk because Jenny's dad is kind of somebody who inspires me with that because he is so like he's hardcore racing at 64
Yeah.
still. Had back surgery like not even a year ago and he's already.
And he
Ready
goes
to
up
go.
skiing every weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
man.
he hikes. You know, in the off season he hikes. I mean, he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Way to
loves
stay
it.
active.
He
Yeah.
loves it. He just wants to retire on a go kart. What are those?
I don't
What
ever-
is it that
I
you
don't-
want?
I don't know if I ever want to retire.
Right.
I don't know if I can.
What if I just don't do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, or just don't retire and don't
Yeah.
go kart.
How about it
Yeah.
just never?
No, go
never
karting
retire?
is gonna happen.
Go karting.
Yeah, because our daughter wants to be Danica Patrick. She already
Okay.
told me.
yeah,
Okay,
she whispered it in his ear.
no.
Our next headline. Speaking of young girls, a 9-year-old girl writes a letter to NBA star Steph Curry complaining his shoes are only for boys, and he responds in kind. In this week, a 9-year-old from Napa, California, decided to write the basketball player a letter. She wanted to get a pair of Under Armour's Stephen Curry shoes, for her
Steph's
new hoop
fine.
season.
He doesn't know
Sports.
sports.
You can call him Steph.
Stop! Don't shame me. For a new hoop season, but couldn't find any online. She was frustrated. The Curry 5 shoes were only available in boys and men's sizes. Naturally, being a child and thinking, well, I can solve this, she writes him a letter.
She was ignorance on
And
fire.
the dad, yeah, it's true. And her dad thought it was sweet, so he posted online and said, I thought I'd see what happens here. And Steph Curry got it. He actually got this letter, and he wrote back, and he posted his response on Twitter just to make sure. And he did handwrite the letter. I have copies, so it's not that he was just, here's my Twitter response.
Right.
I actually wrote her back, which is very kind. And he said, if I can sum this up very quickly, I appreciate your concern. I spent the last 2 days talking to Under Armour about how we can fix the issue. We have labeled smaller sizes as boys on the website incorrectly. We're correcting this right now. I want to make sure you can wear my kicks proudly. I'm also sending you a pair of Curry 5s, and you'll be one of the first kids to get the Curry 6. And he had something about International Women's Day. He wants her to come celebrate with them and go march or... It's a whole thing, and it's turned into this big thing on Twitter, and of course people love it. It's been very sweet. But this little girl, like you said, whose ignorance on fire, wrote him a letter and said, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and made it happen.
And she did. And y'all, I encourage you all to go Google the story, read the letters because it's really pretty good.
They are
And-
very sweet.
And she
Makes some excellent points.
She really did. It was, and it wasn't. In the article they say complaining, which they shouldn't use that because she wasn't. Because
I know, yeah, it's a bad headline.
She said it very eloquently, and it wasn't complaining. She just said, "Look, I know you." She was like, "I know that you respect women. You have 2 daughters of your own, and you're probably just not aware that you don't have it," which is very wise because he probably has 0 clue. He's not involved. Like literally,
Right,
the
he's busy
shoe
with his
gets his
basketball
name
career,
on it,
yeah.
and he gets paid to do it. Really, he's not really that engulfed in it. But give him to his credit, he went, "Okay, you're right. If that's the deal," because he does have a couple daughters. I thought it was an awesome article, and I think that all that did was make me like Steph Curry a little more, even more, because that was just an awesome way to respond with the change. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it, I thought it was a really cool story. What was your second shot on it?
Well, my second shot is kind of more so the ignorance on fire perspective from the girl. And when we say that, we're referencing Heath's book just because, it's kind of like, what about the little guy? And instead of thinking, oh gosh, well, he's Steph Curry and here's his shoes and he's just trying to make money and, he doesn't care about the girls anyway. She thought, hey, I see a problem, and instead of just complaining about it, I think I can actually make a difference. So she was confident enough to not think about the what if and, oh, he probably won't respond, to say, hey, you know, in a diplomatic way, there's a problem here and I think you want to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of not put him on the defensive and not be accusatory. She was so smart in that way to not be accusatory. But this is just sort of a lesson for all of us. If there's a problem with something, you know, it takes... You could spend a lot of time complaining, actually. You know,
Yeah.
if you complain to your mom, to your spouse, to your child, well, shoot, there's 15 minutes right there. Is that not 15 minutes? You could have taken this as an action item and gone to the source and made a diplomatic request instead of a complaint. I think it was really classy on her part, but also just the second shot of, you know, oftentimes the little guy does have a say, especially in 2018 where, you know, the internet can go out to any and everybody.
Yeah, no, and I have the exact same really second shot take on as a lot of times you'll sit around at your work and you'll complain about how this is done and that's done. You complain about it, but you do nothing at all to make the moves to make that change, right? And maybe it starts with you changing something in order for that to get done. Or maybe in your community you hate how these certain things are done, but you're not going and putting your name to be on that school board to change the education system or the city council of wherever you're at, and because you want to rather sit around and complain about. Maybe you're sitting around complaining about your spouse or whatever, but you're doing nothing at all to make those changes yourself to help maybe your spouse make a change, right? Like, I mean, those people you sit around that complain about their family life being boring or whatever there is, but they still go and do their same old routine. Yeah. It's like, sit around, complain, waste that time with it, or get off your butt and go do something to make that difference with it. You know, like, and I'm okay with if you don't go get off your butt and do something, just don't complain.
Right.
Like, shut up or go do something.
It's like broken equipment. You know, you guys, Zach and Matt maybe can understand this. Like, working in media, everybody's, how is it at such and such? Our equipment's always broken. And then before you know it, you know, did anyone make a maintenance request? Oh. So how would maintenance know that it was broken? We've been complaining about this for 6 months, and all we've been doing is complaining, and yet nobody filed a maintenance request, which is the proper protocol usually to get something fixed. So, I mean, you know, all that minutia aside, but it is just. Do you guys notice that?
Oh, not to derail your bit here, but real ones know you didn't put in a maintenance request because I put in 6 maintenance requests. They never fill those things out. I never see that guy in the office. Yeah, there's always an excuse. You're right.
You know, but what I think about too on it. The other lesson on this is not only with the complaining you need to do something, either shut up or make a move and do it, you know, is take a lesson from this little girl on how to be diplomatic and polite and have manners to get changes done, not throwing your arms welling like a little baby and going out there making these rants and these crazy rants and going off on all this psychotic type stuff these people do, you know, throwing a fit versus, you know, a very nice, polite, non-accusatory, non-attacking way. You know what I mean? Like, if she'd have went at her as throwing out there a big diss letter of Steph Curry hates women, doesn't have women's shoes, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have responded.
Of course not.
The way he
True.
did. And if I was him, I wouldn't have responded the other way. You know why he made action quickly? I guarantee when he saw that, he made a call to Under Armour right then. Within 2 days, he had the stuff changed, okay? Because she took a nice, non-accusatory, classy approach, and things changed. You're not going to change stuff by screaming and hollering, throwing a fit like a little baby, and thinking that that's going to make something go on. And that's what I think way too many people do, is attack people instead of, why not assume the best? And if you're somebody that's attacking people, that's because you're somebody who is not going to be thinking the best about yourself and what you do as well.
And to underline the ignorance on fire, because I do want to come back to that. She didn't think, you know, Steph Curry, he probably gets 1 million letters a day.
Yep.
He gets 1 billion ats on Twitter. You know, people at him all the time. Like, odds of him seeing this, real low. Didn't stop it for a second. She's like, I'm just going to do it. Just going to see what happens. Yeah, like, maybe. You know, it works for Santa Claus. Why can't it work for Steph Curry?
Totally.
And it did. I love
She's
it.
got good parents, because her parents, for her to go at it that way. And so what I want to challenge everybody, since I have no idea how long this segment's gone, because Zach forgot to start the timer.
I can't hide behind my dentist and say it's my fault, his fault that I didn't get the clock going, but you're right. 4 segments. I can't do it. It's fine. It's fine.
Know, but here's the thing. If there's something that you're complaining about, you need to go get it, change yourself to do whatever you can to start making the strides to it. You don't need to be going at it, throwing a fit, making accusations, attacking people will never be the way to solve issues. You know what? Maybe it's a long way and it's a long, steady process to get a change done, but do it, and don't do it accusing people. Don't do it attacking people. Assume the best out of them, like this little young lady did, and got the change happen with it. So stop complaining, get off your butt, and go make a move and make it happen. We'll be back in a minute on the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Keith Oakes still to come.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
Zach got the clock started this time, so congrats, buddy.
Thank you.
And you
It's a
don't
big
do
step
it
for
every
me.
time.
We filled in that clock request.
Look, out of 6 segments today, you've only missed it one time. So look, that's good. Good job, buddy.
I'll tell you what it is. It's because I got it so worked up in my head. Because right around the third or fourth one, I was like, I get to brag right after 6. Right as segment 6 starts, I get to be like, I did it. It finally happened, and then I blew it. I flew too close to the sun.
You put the cart before the horse.
I did. All those eggs in one basket. That was my problem.
On the third segment, we like to take your emails and reviews, and we like to take some of the stuff from the Second Shot Facebook group that people post and talk about in there to give you all an idea of what some of the discussions going on. So the Second Shot Facebook group, something you should go and join. secondshotcast@gmail.com if you want to send us an email with anything.
Right, if you don't want it to be public or something like that, we don't use your name.
Yeah. And the other thing that because y'all hear the ad and I've had some questions on it recently, which is Energy Ogre. So it's energyogre.com. Okay, this is a real deal. It's not like
It's the only sponsor of the show. It's the only product that has passed the
that I talk. Yeah,
the
besides
rules
the book.
It's legit. We swear.
Yeah, and if you go to Energy Ogre, if you live in the state of Texas, go look at it. Let it do your electricity. I've been using it, and everybody I know uses it because I pushed it so much because it saved me so much money, and it's super easy. And if you go sign up, when you go in there, you put your info in there, and if they don't save you money, then you don't have to sign up. It's a very simple, easy deal. That's what's great about it. You'll put your bill on there, and if they can't save you money, then you don't do it. It's easy.
Yeah.
But what's the there's a code
Second
so that
Shot,
they don't have to
and
pay.
so here's the thing. If you go in there when you do it, if you put on the coupon code, there'll be a spot for that. If you put in Second Shot, and here's the trick with it, it does have it either has a space or no space, so try both ways. I can't remember now. I'm going blank all of a sudden on it. But
real fans try both ways.
Because you're going to get a month for free, so it's worth it to try it with no space and a space unless you just want to give money away.
Yeah, hey, it's free money.
Yeah, so Second Shot is the deal, and it's either together or it's got a space. I can't recall, but try both ways.
Together in my
Energy,
head.
so ENERGYOGRE.com, and then when you check out, use Second Shot as the code, and then you'll get your month free.
Yeah.
Either way, like Keith said, if you don't save money, then you don't have to pay, so you won't be out anything.
Yeah, it's great. And it's only for people in the state of Texas right now.
We should re-record those ads. Maybe have other people. Have Jenny do one. It'd be great. Yeah, spice it up. Remind people.
I wanted to read. We had some reviews. Some people gave into the shaming.
Yes.
Oh, let's hear it.
The first one, which is interesting. Speaking of your dad, it was your dad.
Oh, what?
Your dad
when we were there over Christmas.
Yeah. Over Thanksgiving, you mean?
Over Christmas.
Christmas hasn't happened. Thanksgiving.
He came down off the ski lodge and hopped off the bicycle seat.
He was so mad, by the way, because Heath had a tooth emergency and we couldn't go up on the opening day.
I didn't think it was open.
It was open that day.
I didn't know that.
My dad and I were both mad at you,
Oh, I didn't know that.
but we played it cool.
Yeah.
Ignorance on fire.
So
Not anymore,
he
though.
said he did at least give us
Let
5
that out.
stars.
Oh, good. Yeah, he said he
yep.
was considering 4.
Yeah, and he said, I've enjoyed listening to the podcast. I always seem to get a little something out of every episode. I may be biased, but I especially enjoy the episodes with Jenny.
That's sweet.
Now, the other
Thanks,
one
Papa.
the other one we had is it's titled Second Shots, 5 stars. Says, I'm new to the Second Shot podcast and am working my way backwards to the first one. I love the teaching moments and positive perspectives you have for the stories you covered. Also enjoy the guest hosts that you have on the show and hearing their stories. And it has a space that says, subscribe to the podcast, check. Read, in quotations, listened to Ignorance on Fire, check. Review the podcast on iTunes, check. I have completed the checklist. Please remove me from the shame list, Jerry.
Jerry, you're
Jerry.
off the shame list.
Yes,
Kudos.
Jerry, every time I talk about shaming people, you understand you are removed from that list, buddy. You are the man, because that was a legit, everything about that was legit, and you are no longer being shamed. Everybody else that hadn't done it, you are still getting shamed at this moment, but Jerry,
Yeah.
not getting shamed anymore.
By the way, if you end up doing the audiobook version of Heath's book, it is actually his voice that recorded it, so you get to hear his gorgeous accent for the whole thing.
Gorgeous. I like
I
that.
wouldn't mind listening to it. I already read
Yeah.
the book, but shoot. Man.
Also, if I may,
Yeah.
Christmas is coming up. So this is a good book, I think, really for anybody. I've had a lot of girlfriends that have been studying their careers that have enjoyed it, people who have given it for high school graduations, college graduations. So it's a easy reading in the way that it's easy to digest, but it's not so simplistic that an adult wouldn't enjoy it. So
fits great in a stocking. Yeah.
Anyway,
because you got that
yes, so-
before, yeah, it works out.
it's on Amazon, the book is, by the way.
And we also had one of the I can say her name just because I know her and she's been on the show.
Yeah.
But I really loved this thought provoking that she came up with on the group, which is Melissa, who's been on the show.
Oh yeah,
I thought
like
this was
that
a
post
really
Melissa made.
good discussion, and these are the type of things that you get in the Second Shot Facebook group if you go join it. But she posted this picture with a saying on it. She said, "What are your thoughts?" It says, "Who makes the biggest difference in the world? Kind people or tough people?"
We always get the toughest questions on the
Kind
Second
people.
Shot page.
I know.
Who makes
They're always ones I look at and I'm like, well, this is above my pay grade. I don't have a good answer.
Who makes the
don't think-
biggest difference in the world? Kind people or tough people?
I don't think there's a wrong. I don't think you can go wrong as long as you're explaining your answer on this one. So I would certainly say kind people have the opportunity to make the biggest difference, because I think you can be tough and kind at the same time, but you have to lead with kind. Somebody has to know that your intentions are pure and generous and have nothing to do with yourself and only to do with them. And then I think that the toughness is well received.
Because I honestly don't think a standalone kind person or a standalone tough person make much of a difference.
But that's what I was saying. Is I think you can be kind and tough, but you have to be kind before tough. I don't think tough can come before kind.
No, I agree. I'm saying I agree with you. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Men,
Just kidding.
men, take a
I'm
note
totally
from my
kidding.
page.
I
Just
love-
agree with your wife
I
on
love to
whatever.
disagree with you. No, I really do. I love to disagree with you on some things.
Yeah, I looked at that and I thought, it's tough. I think of maybe it's just because I'm in podcasting and this is how I look at the world. But I think kind people. I think people who think outside the box a little bit, right? People who look at the way the world goes and go, well, it doesn't have. We don't have to all be so screwed down and so particular in how we present ourselves. We can be nice to other people just for the sake of being nice, because it makes the ride better for all of us, right? And then there's those people are, I don't know, creative. That's and I think of people who are tough and they're logical and they're particular. Like, no, this is the way it's got to be because this is the only way this whole thing keeps spinning, right? Like, we all have to work our stuff out and do this the right way or the wrong way, and this is the way it's going to be. You get people who are creative. They look at the world differently. You get people who are strong and smart, and they look at the world that way. And you gotta. It reminds me of like your left brain and your right brain, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a bit of both, and we all have our strengths. But ultimately, you gotta have a yin and the yang. You gotta have both sides of that coin to make the plane fly.
Well, but here's the thing: is because the only way tough makes a change in the world is if they're giving somebody tough and critical type feedback to help make them better, and people actually take that and and make a change in themselves.
Sure.
And if you're not a person that they think actually is a nice person, that is kind, that cares about them, they're not going to take any of that stuff, any of that feedback, or any of that tough criticism you're going to give them. I'm a firm believer that if you honestly, genuinely care for people, look, some of the best lessons I ever know is when people want to give me the tough truths or the tough feedback. Those are the things you need sometimes to make those changes. But unless you're a kind person that people see as a genuine, thoughtful type person, they're not going to take your criticism or your toughness as a truth and actually make a change, because they're going to go, you're just an a-hole. I'm
Right, that's
not
exactly
listening.
what I was saying.
Yeah, I know that's what you're saying. I'm just agreeing with that and expressing
Right.
the point.
Right, right.
I mean,
Yet
you
again,
always
I'm
tell me
agreeing
that.
with you.
Yeah.
And yes, and the thing is I have a mentor that Elena, that she was able to grab people and tell people, and I used to remember thinking, man, I got to figure out how she can tell people the truth like that and be tough on them and they still like her. Well, all I found out was that she genuinely did love and care for everybody she met. Like you knew Elena loved you from the first time you did it. So by that genuinely being the deal, when she gave you the tough stuff, the tough talks, you listened because you knew where it was coming from. That wasn't coming from she's not self-centered. She did care for you. So like it was coming from I'm here for you. So you listened to that toughness and you took it and you got better from it because you knew it wasn't coming from some self-centeredness type of person. It was somebody that was kind and thoughtful, and she was kind enough to be tough on you. You know, I think my people would tell you that I am tough and that I have high expectations. But they also know that I'd do anything for them and that I do genuinely care about them, and that the things that I'm tough on them on is to make them better, and it's not coming from something for Heath. And that's why I think that question is so intriguing, is that, you know, it's kind of, they got to go together. You've got to be out for people to be tough on them, or they're never going to take the criticism and actually make a change to become a better person, which could change the world.
Yeah. Sorry, can I jump in? I thought you had something to say, but I wanted to...
No. I already said mine.
No, you've always said change is inherently uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Being nice and being uncomfortable don't go hand in hand. Like ultimately, for it to work, you have to have a little bit of both. And you're right. It's that tough love. That's what makes the difference.
Yeah. So the Second Shot Facebook group, to get in some of these discussions, are really cool. There's a lot of discussion chain on that.
Yeah, thanks for posting that, Melissa.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff, which is great, and energyogre.com. And I hope if we don't have another podcast before then, I'm not thinking of my timeline. We'll have one before Christmas, won't we?
Oh yeah.
I hope not. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting confused on my
The
dates and
Second
times.
Shot.
Oh yeah, because we're going to want to talk about what we're doing for New Year's and get our second shooters in on our New Year's tradition of dream boards, vision boards, and we'll kind of go over how to do that and everything.
So
The Christmas
Jenny,
Spectacular.
Jenny, Zach, and Matt, where can they find you guys?
JennyAndChando.com, at Jenny and Chando TV on Twitter, and on Instagram and Facebook, just search Jenny and Chando.
At Apple Zach and Tosh on Twitter and Instagram, and that Facebook group, facebook.com/group/second shot. Check it out. Come join the conversation.
I'm Matt Stoker1 on Instagram, and I am hanging around, lurking in the Facebook group. You
Lurking.
can find me there if you plumb the depths of that group.
That sounds pretty creepy, actually.
Can't wait to plumb the
Ed Ignorance
depths.
on
Dark
Fire on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and the Second Shot Facebook group. I love you guys, and see you next time.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.